The trade war between the United States and Canada is escalating, with fresh retaliatory tariffs threatening to further strain relations between the two close allies. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has announced retaliatory tariffs targeting the United States, following the latest breakdown in trade negotiations between Washington and Ottawa. The announcement comes after US President Donald Trump hit back at Canada over its decision to impose new counter-tariffs. Trump has sharply criticized Ottawa, accusing Canada of unfair trade practices and defending his administration's tariff policy. The latest escalation has pushed the US-Canada trade dispute to another level, with both sides now imposing tariffs and warning of further economic consequences. Prime Minister Carney has announced that Canada will impose new tariffs on American products beginning September 8th. The measures are expected to notably target key sectors of the US economy, including steel and dairy. Trump, meanwhile, has continued to raise pressure on Canada. In a post on Truth Social, the US president accused Canada of seeking the benefits of being a US state without actually becoming one. Trump also defended American farmers, arguing that Canada has imposed massive tariffs on US agricultural products for years. The comments come as Washington and Ottawa struggle to reach a new trade agreement. The latest round of negotiations has now collapsed, raising concerns that the dispute could become a prolonged trade confrontation between the two North American neighbors. Trump had earlier expressed optimism that a deal with Canada could be reached, but those hopes have, at least for now, fallen apart. The current dispute has its roots in tariffs imposed by the Trump administration on key Canadian imports early in his second term. Canada responded with its own suite of countermeasures, setting off a cycle of tariffs and retaliatory action. Since then, Washington and Ottawa have gone back and forth, with President Trump periodically threatening additional tariffs. The Trump administration had announced another round of tariffs in July after Trump accused Canada of discriminatory treatment of American products. The latest measures have now added another layer to an already tense trade relationship. For Canadian exporters, the economic stakes are significant. 50% US tariffs threaten to make hundreds of Canadian products more expensive in the American market. Trade experts warn that some Canadian goods could effectively be priced out of the US market if the tariffs remain in place. The impact could be particularly severe for businesses that depend heavily on exports to the United States. But the consequences may not be limited to Canada. Analysts warn that American consumers could also feel the impact if higher import taxes push up the prices of Canadian goods in the US market. That could mean increased costs for businesses and consumers, adding further pressure to the American economy. The tariff dispute is therefore becoming a two-sided economic challenge. While Washington seeks to protect American industries and pressure Canada over trade policies, Canadian exporters are facing the possibility of losing access to one of their most important markets. At the same time, US companies and consumers could face higher costs for imported Canadian products. The political backlash has also begun. Democrats have criticized the Trump administration over the collapse of the tariff negotiations, accusing the president of damaging relations with an important US ally. California Governor Gavin Newsom described Canada as America's closest ally and a critical trading partner, while criticizing Trump's approach. The dispute therefore extends beyond tariffs and trade figures. It is also raising questions about the future of one of America's most important economic and diplomatic relationships. The United States and Canada share one of the world's largest trading relationships, with businesses and workers on both sides of the border deeply connected. Any prolonged tariff battle could therefore have consequences far beyond the industries directly targeted by the new measures. For now, the next major deadline is September 8th, when Canada's newly announced retaliatory tariffs are set to take effect. Until then, pressure will remain on Washington and Ottawa to return to the negotiating table. But with both sides digging in and accusing each other of unfair trade practices, the path to a deal remains uncertain. The US-Canada trade war is escalating. Canadian businesses are facing a tougher road into the American market, and US consumers could also feel the effects through higher prices. What began as a dispute over tariffs is now threatening to reshape the economic relationship between two of America's closest partners.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to Mirror Now.